All right, guys, we are back with another video. This week, we want to kind of do something fun. We posted my GoPro onboard from the Baja 1000 a couple weeks ago, and you guys loved it. So I wanted to give a full breakdown of what is kind of going on in the GoPro video and just kind of talk your way through it of what I was experiencing. So first was nice. All right, so start line, Baja 1000, La Paz, which was cool because it was the first time we'd ever done that. And the fans were crazy. A little bit of background, so I was starting the number 90 or 89 all-wheel drive, first time or second time driving an all-wheel drive trophy truck, first time starting one. My boy Greg, he's at the start line every time. So yeah, we start off here. It starts in a third, or they let us go full speed for about 100 feet, which is really nothing. And then right now we go to a 60 mile an hour speed zone because they don't want us doing 150 next to people when you can see there's just thousands and thousands of people. This literally went on for miles. We cut the video because it just is 60 mile an hour. It's kind of boring, but yeah, miles. So a little background, I just thrown up 3 times at the start. I got food poisoning or some type of food bug. It was terrible. So yeah, just through town, all the way, speed zone. Luckily in these trucks we have like a cruise control kind of, but yeah, so right off the start here, super tight. Like the first 3 corners, you're like, man, I hope the truck turns here, because you're all wound up, you know, you've just been doing a speed zone, you're like, let's just go, we got 24 hours of racing ahead. Yeah, I still remember like making this, like the first corner, I was like, please don't blow the first corner, like, you know, you're so amped up. And you know, when you're driving a 1300 horsepower just fire breather, like it just wants to go. So yeah, start off here. As you can see, there's like the fans, it was just mind-blowing. I'm just gonna keep saying that because I'd never seen that many people on course. But yeah, so super tight here. The all-wheel drive in this section is so much fun because there's some berms where you can actually like lean on it, and the all-wheel drive, and then so you like coast through the corners a lot more in an all-wheel drive than a two-wheel drive, which having the berms helps. But then as soon as you get straight, like you can just like it's so it's rad. Yeah, so some cool rollers here. These are always sketchy because you want to go fast, but if you charge too hard, you're just gonna smash your front bumper. But then it's like that balance of what's too slow, what's too fast. Yeah. And you see the acceleration, we just went from 60 to 90 like half a second. But all right, let's see. Yeah, Cactus, that was a close one right there. Yeah, as you can see in the beginning, it's so tight, and like that's the worst when you first, just because you're just wound up, and it's when you're bound to kind of make a mistake. And when there's just 15-foot cactuses that are, you know, 1.5 feet thick everywhere, like if you mess up, it's a big no-no. Okay, yeah. As you can see, kind of cool. You can see the helicopters up there. I don't know if that's our helicopter. I think it was probably a truck ahead of me. As you see, race mile 40, already catching a lot of dust. We caught camera steel pretty early on. Basically, the whole field was all kind of stacked up. Yeah. The videos, they look fast, but at the same time, it really doesn't do justice. I mean, you can see if you look like at the bushes, like we're cooking. But yeah, at this point in the race, like it's just like you're cruising, especially because you just caught dust, and in this super tight stuff, you can't pass. All right, so now we're jumping to the stairs or the steps. I forget what they're called, steps or stairs, but. Yeah, this part in La Paz is these gnarly rock, just ledges. They're about, you know, some of them are 3-4 foot tall. I don't know, like 3 foot tall. But in the video, it doesn't look bad, but like it's kind of like you're scraping on the bottom at some of them, and it looks so casual because we're going kind of pretty quick through them, but it's kind of intimidating. People talk about coming down the steps, like at the end of the Baja 1000, because normally come down. No, we went up, so. All right, yeah. Still just people everywhere. You know, at this point we're pretty far out of town, and yeah, as you can see, super tight. And what people don't realize, so like, you know, you drive your pickup truck, it feels wide. Trophy truck, we got an extra like, I think over a foot. So, you know, you're pretty narrow on these dirt roads. When you really watch in the race car, you know it's tight, but you're kind of so focused you don't realize it. Where here now, watching back, surprised I didn't rip off more, which I did rip off some. Eventually, we'll skip to that part soon. That's my one big mistake, but yeah, kind of blows my mind. It's such a different when you're watching it from this angle. Yeah, as you saw there, like when you go through those little G outs, what's cool about the all-wheel drive, it's got so much power and like torque, like you can kind of like kind of pop the front end up, where in a spec truck that's like non-existent. Okay, you just blitz through this stuff. Alright, yep, got a little split line, so the course actually went that way, but this wash was open, no VCPs in here, so I remember dipping into here. In the all-wheel drive in the stand, but what's crazy, so right here, you can't see right now, but we're going through the sand and there's just these hidden rocks, so you had to be really careful and take a lot of notes pre-running, because there was a lot of like hidden rocks that blended in. They're the same color, but if you would hit them, it would have, you would have blew a tire, no issue. All right, now we're heading down towards the beach. Kind of opens up at this point, and you'll see, you can see in the distance, that's all people. I know it's hard to make out, but like it was mind-blowing. I mean, just walls of people, which is really, you know, people always ask what it's like driving through all of these people. It's pretty scary. The all-wheel drive is much less scary because it really tracks a lot straighter. Spec truck, you're kind of just holding on, you're pinned. As you can see, like right now we're just driving into a cloud of dust. Luckily that one broke loose, and you see camera steel up here. This was some gnarly sill. Like spec trucks had been getting so sketchy through here. I almost got stuck here pre-running, which is a little shortcut, so you could have stayed on like the main road right there and had no sill issues, but you would have lost a couple seconds. So then you come up here, then you can see like coming over these blind rises in trophy trucks, super sketchy because the hood's so big. You know, my point of view is lower than what we're seeing right now. Yeah, you get more realistic on this angle. Yeah, can't see much. We can see just enough. Oh, a little clean right there. And the GoPro, dude. You thank me. Casually doing 101 right now, just through people with dust. Never fun. I don't really like looking back at those moments. Ben's making me watch this. I'm gonna have to be scared next time I drive the trophy truck. Yeah, as you can see, just, yeah, that's Baja. So, busting through the dust, slows down. You see, as soon as, so yeah, we're kind of off the beach for a little here. Race mile 55. At this point, we'd gotten some splits. You know, basically all the top trucks were stacked up. Bryce was just kind of putting, you know, he just was setting the pace and we were all stuck behind him. So it's kind of like, hey, I hope 123, 130 right now through the trees. Oh, trophy truck, baby. But yeah, that's where the all-wheel drive, but the, you know, the front-wheel drive really pulls you around, which is nice. All right, going through here. This was like some silt beds, some easy lines around it, and then especially in the trophy truck, all-wheel drive, you just point, shoot straight through the middle. Doesn't look bad. Oof, got a little away from me right there almost. Yeah, at this point in the race, like I just started to I was still battling my sickness. Probably around this time I threw up in my helmet. It didn't come out, but it just was able to put her down. Alright, yeah, so we had just passed. There was one section where there was a big mud pit, and I was afraid, we had like a line around it, but I was really afraid someone behind me was gonna go through it. Luckily, we had some time splits, and I had a decent gap behind. But basically, at this race mile 100 we're at now, Oh, no, I'm thinking ahead. But yeah, this section is pretty fun. There's some like really cool rollers that you just want to send, but on race day, well, like you can see, like that one I went a little too fast. You can see it gets narrow, but like you just want to, like it's like they're perfect jumps. And if you weren't racing for another 1,200 miles after this, I'd probably send it. But apparently that's frowned upon. All right, this section, quick little S turns. This is where the, it's a little tough. Oh, now we're in a speed zone, but those like really flat kind of off camber stuff, that's where the all-wheel drive is a little tricky because it's so heavy. The front's really heavy. You gotta be careful. If you come in too fast, the thing just doesn't want to slow down, and then it just goes into a push. So pit 1, race mile 125. Chris Polvoorde did this pit, my team, so versus Walser's pit. Here we just did 2 tires and some fuel. In, out. Sadly, at this point, I took off my GoPro because it was dead. We were about 2 hours in, I think. Or we were probably a little less than 2 hours. All right, back off. Speed zone. So, yeah, it's cool they let us race on the highways, but at the same time, you're in a speed zone, but there's still like local traffic on. So sometimes you're dodging cars. A little scary because you don't want to go less because you want to be doing exactly 60 or 37 miles an hour because that's what the other guy's doing behind you. All right, so you can see there was on the main line, now hopping onto like a little shortcut. The shortcut was pretty burned in, as you can see, and known. See, even the fans were on this shortcut. And now you can see the helicopter. Oh, just outran the helicopter, which is always fun. Just straight line whoops. The beginning of the Baja 1000 was a lot of just straight high speed with whoops, which as you can see is what we're doing right now. But when you're doing 130, it makes it a little quicker. So yeah, as you can see here, I remember this section. So we had just pitted at 125, and knowing in my head, the 2 guys in front of me hadn't pitted based on our time splits. I knew they had been pitting soon. In the next 20 miles, in the next like 10 miles. So at this point, my game plan in this section, because there's a straight line, like big whoops, was just to cruise. But mid-race, I'm thinking, okay, these guys have to pit soon. I've already pitted, so when they go into the pits, this is my opportunity to pass them because the dust is so narrow and whatnot. So at this point, I like just really start charging. And you can't see here, but so at race mile like 185, I actually passed 2 of the guys in the pits with my strategy, which it's always nice when it works out like that. Oh yeah, so here we're coming to what would be my second pit, silt bed, insane right here. This was one. There's some in pre-running. This was nuts. It wasn't like we were gonna get stuck, but it was just clouds of dust, and you were just blowing it all over the fans, which is scary because as you can see, can't see much. There's a highway on our right and a fence line on our left, and we're just wide open. But got a little road crossing here. Yeah, I'm gonna be in here and just going like. I wanted to keep pushing because my pit was coming up, so I wanted to make sure I had a big gap behind me. And it's just not comfortable when you're that close to the highway. Traffic's coming at you this way, and you're just like. So this is what they call a stop check or a check 1. So we have to come to a complete stop, and then that guy says we're good. Kind of a pain. It's really wild when you're racing, guys, because everyone has to come in there and get on a stop, and it's just dusty and chaotic. All right, at this point, I'm looking for my pit, which, people everywhere, a little tough. Boom. I told them I felt something in the front right, so you can see all the guys looking in the front right. Boom, in and out. Unfortunately, we had gotten past the pits here because we had to change a tire that we weren't planning on because it looked a little weak, so it just wasn't worth the risk. And yeah, now this point is high speed, just letting that 1,300 horsepower thing get after it. Right here, probably doing 120, probably 100, 130 now, and probably 135, which is, it's crazy how gnarly you just get there. So yeah, so this is coming through. My boy Bink right there on the left, and his, and now over there's another right. His truck's on the left. So this section you're coming into San Tomas, or no, not San Tomas, San Javier. Sorry. So this is a really fun road. Lots of little creek crossings. It's kind of high speed. It got pretty chewed up by race day with the pre-running, and just they hadn't had much rain, so it kind of really deteriorated. But you're kind of going through this canyon, high speed, down through these creeks, which are kind of scary because there's a lot of rocks. And then like creek crossings are just, it's always a, how deep are they? Which you kind of have a guesstimate. You can see, and then from pre-running, but you want to go fast through them because you don't want to lose time. But then if you go too fast, first off, you get soaked and you can't see usually. And then like there's always the risk, like these trucks are filled with electronics, and yes, they're sealed and weatherproof, but if I take a wave of water over, like, engine's gonna be pissed. Luckily in the all-wheel drives, the engine's in the back, but yeah, there's a lot. So all right, so at this point we've just gone through Loretto, jumping into some silt beds. You can see these silt beds are like, these aren't even real silt beds, but we're like coming up on where the really big ones are. But just this stuff was just blown out. Like, ugh, I wish it did justice of like, with all-wheel drive, you're just like, and like a lot of times, so yeah, pull into our pit right here. This was a pretty quick pit. I think they did 2 tires and fuel in like 26 seconds or 27 seconds. The boys were on it. Maybe I'm dreaming, but you can see how like casual it is. Like they're just on it. Got the locals, and just taking some selfies in front of their 1,300 horsepower truck. Oh, run, yep. That's always my favorite. In the pits, they're like taking selfies. All of a sudden, I just, and yeah, now we're getting into the silt, which in the all-wheel drive is just cheating. You kind of feel that because you can see like we're just you can see it shooting off, but we're just powering through it. Like, yeah, it's bad. But yeah, these few corners in this silt bed here got so gnarly. And there wasn't a lot of like lines around it in this first little bit. The really big one, there were some lines, but like this corner, I mean, just slow down an all-wheel drive like that, scary. But one of the big advantages in the all-wheel drive we have is our drive shaft isn't centered. So as you can see, like there's these big, deep ruts, and then from our tires, but then the center is high. So a lot of times, like in a regular, two-wheel drive truck, your pumpkin or your third member and drive shaft are in the middle, and it just gets, where this, it's offset to the side, it's almost more towards that tire track, and you're able to like, it's not like an anchor that gets thrown out, which is a huge advantage. And then having four-wheel drive and having 1,300 horsepower is kind of cheating. So now we're on this graded road a little past 300 going to Orindia, which, right? Yeah, Orindia? No, not Orindia. Orindia's Ensenada. We're going to, it's like my favorite town. No, where all the fans were. It'll come to me. Give me a sec. But this is a really fun crossover road. It got once again chewed up, but you can see right here, there's some gnarly switchbacks, huge cliffs. Like in this next corner too, you can't even tell. Like it doesn't look like a big cliff, but if you miss this corner, like right there, it drops off like at least 500 to 1,000 feet. 500 feet to 1,000 feet. It's a big, and like you're coming down and it's like chattering, like it's all braking bumps, and like this thing just doesn't want to slow down. Like it weighs 7,500 pounds. Big old water crossing right here. Yeah. I'm blanking on the name, sorry. La Prisma. So yeah, we just went through La Prisma, which have some of the best fans. Probably some of the best fans in the peninsula are. Yeah, they're the amount of people that when you go through that town, like that one stickers and just pumped. Awesome. So if you're watching that, you're from here, thank you. We love it. It gets us amped. Sorry, I forgot your name. All right, now super high speed straight stuff for basically the next, like, I don't know, 80 miles probably. So this big graded road, and then you get into San Juanico, which is Scorpion Bay, another one of my favorite places. A little bit of speed zone here, and then now you're just on this just wide open graded road. This is where the section I talked about, doing 130 and accidentally airing out one of these rollers that we're going through right now, which that's just a sick feeling, but at the same time just terrible, because 130 miles an hour, like, you can't slow down, and you're in the air, so you can't really, so you're just kind of ride, like, and we weren't even like high off. It wasn't like we like hucked like a 50-foot cliff, but when you're like when you're hovering at 130 and you're just like, let's see where this goes. But coolest feeling, worst feeling. So at this point we're catching a lot of bikes, as you can see, which is always terrible. Like, you're catching these bikes, especially in these high speed zones. They don't know you're coming. We're trying to let them know. We have our siren on. The helicopter's trying to warn them for safety reasons. You know, they're flying ahead. But for us, it's like, we don't know whether it's a bike or another trophy truck. They produce a ton of dust. A lot of times these slower bike guys are riding in pairs, 2-3 of them at a time, which is creating just as much dust as a trophy truck. So for us, I'm like, oh, does Alan, who's in front of me right now, like have a flat or something happening? Like, I gotta push through. And then all of a sudden there's just a bike doing 50 and I'm doing 115, and you're like, and I don't want to hurt those guys, but the problem is oh, you can see a little cutoff line here, little shortcuts, switchbacks on the race course, but we just go straight down them, speed. But yeah, the bike guys, like, it's terrible, because you know every other trophy truck that's already passed them flew by them. So you're like, I can't wait for them. Like, you're trying to be so patient. It's like this mind battle, because you don't want to hurt them, you don't want to run them down. But yeah, luckily, you know, the helicopter's able to kind of warn them and they're able to get. But a lot of these guys at this point they're 10-12 hours into their racing, so like they're kind of delusional. You imagine riding a dirt bike for that long, and then all of a sudden this fire breathing trophy truck is just like, so yeah. So this is getting towards the end of my stint. Really tight, so it's just big wide open stuff, and then it got into this tighter, just rocky, kind of nasty stuff, which is a little intimidating, like when it's rocky and like you're like, oh, I'm so close to like getting out, but it's so rocky right now, like don't screw up. And like at this point we were second, I think we were second on the road, or we were second or third on the road. We were third on the road, second on time, right behind Bryce Menzies. So like sitting, just, I had done my job, so I was happy. But you get into this and like, oh, I remember, so this is officially where my stint ended. Hopped on the highway and I was done. So just speed zone for the next like 5 miles. And I just remember just like, I'd been nauseous all day. Mike Kim, I remember we get on the highway and he goes, you want an Oreo? And I wish we had GoPro videos, and he hands me an Oreo. That was our, you know, finish line thing. But now you can see here, I'm jumping out, just pumped to be out, because I'd been nauseous kind of all day. Like, it was good, but at the same time I was nauseous. So yeah, at this point my race was over, but the truck continued on for another 1,300 miles, or no, 800 miles. I had done the first 525. If you want to see more videos of that, you can go check that out in our YouTube video, which shows the whole race, the chasing, the behind the scenes, all that, which was sick. And yeah, that's kind of a wrap up. Hopefully you guys like that. It's hard to talk for 30 minutes straight. If there's someone who's going to do it, it's me. But hopefully I gave you guys some useful information, and you enjoyed it. So if you did like it, drop a comment below, just so I know I can make more videos like this. I kind of had fun. Made me realize I do a lot of dumb stuff, but we're not going to talk about that. But yeah, that's kind of a wrap. Thanks for subscribing. If you don't subscribe, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next week, because we drop a new video every single week. All of 24, we're not going to miss a week. That's the goal. So